Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'd like to show you my hyacinth bulbs and how they've been doing this year. So unfortunately I've not actually looked after them as well as I should have, and the reason for that is I was just too busy over the autumn. I should have really planted them out in September, given them a good long cold period so that they could get their roots established, ready for flowering. But unfortunately I was really busy with work over the autumn period. I'd actually completely forgotten about these. I put them in a drawer, forgot I actually had the hyacinth bulbs. And then come, I think, December, January time, something thought, oh, actually, I've still got these bulbs and I haven't actually looked after them. So I got them out. Unfortunately, they were a little bit dried up. That's why you can see here there's quite a lot of old dead material on the bulb. The bulbs were really dried up. I thought they might actually not even flower this year. They were so dried up, I thought they were going to die. Because as I say, normally you put them out in autumn, but they had been so long, probably almost, not a year, but 10 months, maybe 9 months, completely dormant in the drawer. So they dried out a lot, and I thought they weren't going to do anything, but I thought, I better plant them, give them a chance anyway, and they've actually done quite well. So they are showing signs that they've suffered from being too dry and being planted too late, but in general they're actually doing quite well. They give me a nice display. Flowers aren't as big as they should be, but that's because they haven't been treated right, and they've still got the lovely fragrance, of course. So what's happened is, because they were planted quite late, the bulbs had dried up, so they'd lost a lot of the energy that they'd stored up. Just conserving their moisture, they had to shed off the outer layers of the bulb. So they probably halved the amount of energy that they should have had. So, I should have had flowers twice as big as this, but they're still small flowers, they still don't look too bad. But I should have had twice as many flowers, really. The flower stalks would have been twice as thick. So for example, this one here should have been right up here somewhere, but they're still flowering nicely. And the other problem that arises from planting them too late is the roots don't develop properly. So the roots in these plants aren't as big or as long as they should be. And what that does is it changes the hormone levels in the plants. So the roots in the plants produce a hormone which encourages stem elongation and growth of the leaves. And because the roots in these plants are quite small, there's not a lot of roots producing that hormone to encourage longer leaves and proper elongation. So because of that, the leaves are very short, which you could argue is quite nice because the leaves aren't covering up the flowers, but it means that the leaves are never going to get quite as big as they should do, and it's not going to absorb as much energy as it should, and it won't flower as well next year because of that, unfortunately. But as I say, it was my own fault for forgetting about the bulbs, but I'm pretty happy with how they've done. As you can see, they're all flowering. And in fact, I've even got some baby bulbs coming off the sides, and these bulbs are really tiny, like probably the size of a grape or something, but even they're flowering, so I'm very surprised to see that. So that's a good sign. That shows that obviously all the high potassium feed I was giving them has even encouraged even the smaller, younger plants to flower. So I was quite impressed with that. But yeah, even the little ones down here, they're also flowering. Some little buds coming up from some baby bulbs. But generally I'm quite happy. I would have been a lot happier if I had not forgotten about the bulbs and grown them properly. But there you are, they're still looking good, still going well. So I'll look after these ones a bit better hopefully this year. What I'll do is, once the flowers are finished, I'm going to cut off the stems. I'm going to let them get as much sunlight as possible, give them a good feed with a high potassium feed, hopefully get the bulbs to swell up again back to a similar size as they were before, and hopefully next year I'll get a better display. But they are in quite a small pot, as you can see. It's not the biggest of pots for the amount of bulbs. And eventually I'm going to have to grow them in either bigger individual pots or plant them out in the garden again, just to really get the energy levels back into the bulb and get them flowering well for next year. So that's my hyacinths this year. Unfortunately not as well as most years, even though I've made a video on how to look after hyacinths and what to do exactly correct with them. I was just too busy, so unfortunately I haven't looked after these as well as I should have. But they're still done well. They've still recovered nicely, so I'm moderately happy. And that's it for my hyacinth bulbs. I may give you an update in a few months. We'll see how they do. That's it for now.